the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
With free agency only one day away, Bears general manager is believed to have two names circled as we go into free agency starting tomorrow. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, Bears fans, we are at the most exciting time of the year, and that is the free agency frenzy. No more predictions, no more, maybe unrealistic scenarios about the Chicago Bears. We find out probably as soon as tomorrow on who Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears are going to sign to this organization. First and foremost, the open negotiating period for the National Football League begins tomorrow at 9 a.m. PST. That is just my time here in California. It could be a different time in your area, but in my time zone, it begins at 9 a.m. PST, which means the Chicago Bears can begin negotiating contracts with free agents in free agency. And as we all know, Ryan Poles and Chicago Bears currently have $45.6 million in cap space. They have definitely already upgraded this roster by adding Joe Thuney, the guard from the Kansas City Chiefs, and Jonah Jackson, the guard from the Los Angeles Rams. But according to Albert Breer, who has very, very close connections to the Chicago Bears organization, is basically saying that Ryan Poles and Chicago Bears have two names circled as they go into free agency tomorrow. And as we all know, Ryan Poles, and of course, Albert Breer said this as well, that Ryan Poles and the Bears plan to be aggressive as soon as the open negotiating period opens tomorrow in the National Football League. And the two names that he mentioned that Ryan Poles and the Bears have circled is edge rusher Khalil Mack and center Drew Dalman. First and foremost, Khalil Mack. We had so many conversations about Mack. Of course, Mack has shown interest in coming back to Chicago. It seems that the Bears would love to have a reunion with Khalil Mack as well. He is 34 years old. In 2024, had another really good year, 6 sacks, 49 total pressures. Of course, he has familiarity with Dennis Allen, dating back to their Oakland Raider days, and a 4-3 defense as well. And I had a conversation with a Bears fan just yesterday talking about Khalil Mack, and this certain Bears fan was kind of out on Khalil Mack, just basically insinuating that, why would we want to repeat those same failures? We've already seen Khalil Mack in a Chicago Bears uniform. So why would we want Khalil Mack back? It didn't work the first time. So why do we want Khalil Mack back this time? And I basically just explained to him, when you look back at Khalil Mack's first stint here with the Chicago Bears, his defensive coordinators were Vic Fangio, Chuck Pagano, and Sean Desai. All those defensive coordinators had one thing in common. They all ran a 3-4 defense. So that means Khalil Mack was listed as an outside linebacker. So that means Khalil Mack was basically dropping back into coverage, because that's what the 3-4 defense does. And as an outside linebacker, you have to drop back into coverage. And I've always thought that Khalil Mack dropping back in coverage was absolutely ridiculous. Khalil Mack is a true pass rusher, and you want Khalil Mack on your team rushing the passer, not dropping back into coverage. And that's exactly what the Los Angeles Chargers did these last 3 years in the 4-3 scheme, where Khalil Mack was then listed as a DN with his hand in the dirt. And you saw a whole lot of success from Khalil Mack in these last 3 seasons with the Los Angeles Chargers. He had about 31 sacks in 3 years, 193 total pressures. I think he had like 130 quarterback hits. And he was also durable. He played basically every single game for the Los Angeles Chargers these last couple years. Not only that, he was a top run defender as well in the last 3 seasons with the Chargers. So it's definitely different. Him coming back in a 4-3 scheme, I think he can even be more effective, even at the age of 34 years old. The only problem with Khalil Mack is really not even his age. It's the fact that he probably will still command a little bit of money. Right now, they're saying that he could probably get a contract that's probably about 2 years, $44 million, which is about $22 million per year. And for someone of his age, even though he is producing, that is a pretty penny, right? And of course, I know there's a lot of Bears fans, including myself, that would love the Khalil Mack reunion. And of course, we need an edge rusher alongside Montez Sweat, and what he can do against the run as well can help improve our run defense. And then you can, go into the draft and draft someone young, a young edge rusher along with Austin Booker, and Khalil Mack can also be a mentor for those young edge rushers here in Chicago. So there's a lot of good things that Khalil Mack can bring to the Chicago Bears, even at 34. But I hope that he can come down on that price just a little bit. And I'm not trying to disrespect Khalil Mack, but $22.5 million per year, I'm at 34 years old, it is a whole lot of money. I'm thinking for Khalil Mack, anywhere from maybe $17 to $19 million range, I would still be okay giving him that, just knowing the type of production. But $22.5 million is kind of a steep price, especially when the Chicago Bears have other areas of needs on this roster. And once again, I know Khalil Mack would be a huge jolt to this defensive line, but you never know when production is about to dip. You can look good over these past couple of years, and then the following year, right, you can lose all your production, or you can end up getting hurt. Who knows? That's just the nature of the game. Father Time is always going to be undefeated. But once again, I would love to see Khalil Mack back in a Chicago Bears uniform. I think he would be a huge upgrade in many ways for the Chicago Bears defensive line. But let me know down below in the comment section if you want to see Khalil Mack back in a Chicago Bears uniform. And of course, Albert Breer also mentioned Drew Dalman, considered the best center in this year's free agency class. He's 26 years old. And when you look at Drew Dalman and the conversation that we've been having about him, he's a solid run blocker and has improved as a pass protector over time. But definitely Ryan Poles and the Bears thought process, and Albert Breer also mentioned this as well, that this could be the final piece to the puzzle to really bolster this offensive line here in Chicago. Of course, Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, the Bears made that a focus to protect Caleb Williams this offseason. And to me, they have done a very good job and hit an absolute home run by trading for Joe Thuney for that 4th round pick in 2026, and then trading a 6th round pick in this year's NFL draft to go get Jonah Jackson, a guy that has familiarity with Ben Johnson, to take care of your guard spots. And then if you're able to land Drew Dalman, that would be a totally upgraded interior of the offensive line here in Chicago. And of course, you have Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright playing the tackle spots here in Chicago on this Bears offensive line. And then once again, just like how we talked about, the Bears can go into NFL draft and maybe still draft another defensive end. The Chicago Bears can have that same approach for the offensive line as well. You could still go in round 1 and draft Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks or Amar Membu to really solidify this offensive line for years to come. Because once again, you're looking at Joe Thuney, one of the best guards in the National Football League, but he is 32 years old, about to turn 33, right? And you look at Jonah Jackson, he's 28 years old, and coming off a season where he had a whole lot of injuries and was out for most of the year, right, due to those injuries. So the Chicago Bears, to me, need to double down not only on the offensive line, but the defensive line as well. And that is the expectation from Ryan Poles and the Bears going into this new league year. And this is going to be an exciting time of year. For me as a Bears fan, I know you guys are excited about this as well. They still have a whole lot of cap space to spend, $45.6 million. And then when you look at Drew Dalman, going back to him really quick, he's looking at around $14 to $15 million per year. Of course, if the Chicago Bears get in a bidding war, maybe we lose out on Drew Dalman, which is okay, because there's other guys out there like Evan Brown. Obviously, he has familiarity with Ben Johnson dating back to the Detroit Lions. And of course, you can maybe go get Andre James, the guy that was just released by the Las Vegas Raiders. He has 60 starts and 89 career games at center. Could be a solid bet option, and maybe you can go into the NFL draft and draft another guy that can develop into a very good center in the National Football League. But let me just remind you guys that the center class this year in the 2025 NFL draft is not very strong. So I expect Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears to go extra hard in signing Drew Dalman when the open negotiating period opens up tomorrow. So Bears fans, would you guys be okay with Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears prioritizing Khalil Mack and Drew Dalman in free agency when it opens up tomorrow at 9 a.m. PST? Let me know down below in the comment section. So Bears fans, I'm super excited for free agency. I expect an aggressive and a motivated Ryan Poles to really bring some upgrades on this Chicago Bears roster. Just like I mentioned, I will be doing an all-day live stream right here on Keek on the Mic, starting at about 8:30 a.m. PST, breaking all the NFL news and free agency, not only for the Chicago Bears, but all NFL as well. So make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears news right here on the podcast. Make sure you guys follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears that you know. But other than that, back for all new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the